Ferrari arrived in Miami with massive expectations, bringing their biggest upgrade package of the season for the SF26 and believing that the month-long break would finally become a turning point in the 2026 Formula One title fight. But instead, the exact opposite happened. In the middle of huge expectations from the Tifosi, Ferrari once again looked chaotic, losing performance as the race progressed, struggling with tyre degradation, lacking engine power, and being haunted by the same old problems that still remain unresolved. Now the big question is this: was Miami simply a delayed step toward Ferrari's comeback? Or is it actually a warning sign that Frederic Vasseur's major project is beginning to fall into danger? Let's discuss. The 2026 Miami Grand Prix was initially seen as a crucial moment for Ferrari. After a long break of nearly 1 month, the Scuderia finally introduced a major evolution package for the SF26. The upgrades were described as one of the biggest development packages on the grid this season. Ferrari brought numerous changes, including a new front wing design, revisions to both the front and rear suspension, and significant modifications to the car's diffuser. But as has often happened over the last few seasons, those big expectations quickly turned into disappointment. Lewis Hamilton's weekend was almost completely without positive highlights. The 7-time world champion could only finish 7th in the sprint race, and once again crossed the line in 7th place during the main Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc briefly gave Ferrari fans hope after showing competitive pace early in the weekend. He managed to secure a podium in the sprint race, started 3rd on the grid for the Grand Prix, and even took the race lead on the opening lap with an aggressive Mario Kart-style move. But the advantage did not last long. Leclerc began losing positions after Kimi Antonelli and Lando Norris activated their overtake modes. From that point on, Ferrari immediately lost its rhythm. The SF26's rear tyres overheated extremely quickly, and the car's performance dropped dramatically. Leclerc eventually fell down the order, received a 20-second penalty for a track limits violation on the final lap, and finished only 8th. The result led many observers to agree that Miami was Ferrari's worst weekend of the entire 2026 season. There were indeed external factors that affected the outcome of the race, including unfortunate safety car timing. However, Ferrari's problems appear to go far deeper than strategy or bad luck alone. Several major warning signs started to emerge, particularly regarding the performance of their latest upgrade package. Ferrari actually looked fairly strong during the early stages of each stint, but as the race went on, the SF26's tyre degradation became far worse compared to key rivals like Mercedes, McLaren, and Red Bull. According to the team's internal analysis, one of the main causes was their lack of straight-line performance. Because the car was slower on the straights, the drivers were forced to push harder through the corners to compensate for the deficit. As a result, the rear tyres were placed under excessive stress and overheated much faster. This issue is believed to come directly from weaknesses in Ferrari's power unit. According to reports from the Italian media, Ferrari is estimated to be trailing by around 15 to 30 horsepower compared to the Mercedes engine, which is currently considered the benchmark power unit on the grid. Even Lewis Hamilton himself admitted that Ferrari actually has a very strong chassis and aerodynamic platform, but their engine performance is still not competitive enough to fight against the top rivals. Frederic Vasseur attempted to calm the situation by saying that Ferrari's issues come from the overall car package, not just the engine alone. However, many analysts believe the power unit remains the biggest weakness of the SF26 right now. With such a significant power deficit, Ferrari will struggle enormously to fight for victories at circuits that demand high top speed. Their only realistic hope may come at tracks like Monaco, where engine power is far less dominant. What's even more concerning is that Ferrari has also started showing signs of thermal management issues. During the final stages of the Miami race, Hamilton was forced to reduce his pace to keep the engine temperatures within a safe range. That means Ferrari is not only lacking power, but is also struggling with cooling problems that could become a major weakness at hot weather circuits. Beyond the car's performance issues, Hamilton also revealed another surprising problem. After qualifying, he openly admitted that the simulation results from Maranello were very different from the real conditions on track. In other words, Ferrari appears to have a serious correlation problem between their simulator and the car's actual performance in the real world. Hamilton even said he might skip simulator sessions before the Canadian Grand Prix because he feels the data being produced is not accurate enough. Those comments immediately became a major talking point, since it is extremely rare for a Ferrari driver to publicly criticise the team's internal systems. Amid all this pressure, Frédéric Vasseur is still trying to stick to his long-term plan. Since the beginning of the season, Vasseur has emphasised that Ferrari wants to build performance gradually and consistently. Together with their new technical director, Ferrari has been trying to move away from the old approach of relying on massive upgrade packages every few races. Instead, they want to introduce smaller but steady improvements to keep the car's development direction under control. Ironically, Miami turned out to be the complete opposite of that philosophy. The cancellation of several previous Grands Prix forced Ferrari to combine all of their upgrades into a single race weekend. The situation became even more difficult because Miami used the sprint format, meaning there was very limited time for on-track testing. Despite the disappointing result, Ferrari at least managed to collect a large amount of important data from the new package. However, their biggest issue still remains unresolved: the engine. Right now, Ferrari is placing huge hopes on the FIA's ADU system, or additional development upgrade opportunities. This system allows engine manufacturers to receive extra upgrade opportunities if their power unit performance falls behind their main rivals by a certain percentage. The FIA is scheduled to evaluate engine performance after the Canadian Grand Prix. If Ferrari is truly more than 2% behind, they will receive one additional upgrade opportunity. If the gap is greater than 4%, Ferrari could even be granted 2 upgrades. Those upgrades would likely only be introduced starting from the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa. That is why Ferrari currently looks like a team simply trying to survive while waiting for salvation from their engine development program. But of course, there is no guarantee that everything will work out. Modern Formula One is far too complex to fix simply by adding more engine power. Even if Ferrari succeeds in improving their power unit, rivals like Mercedes, McLaren and Red Bull are continuing to evolve with every race weekend. Because of that, Frédéric Vasseur's project now depends on 2 major factors. First, Ferrari must secure the maximum possible engine upgrades through the ADU system and ensure those improvements are truly effective. Second, they must continue developing the SF26 chassis and aerodynamics, which so far have actually been the car's biggest strengths. If either of those 2 factors fails, Ferrari's season could turn into a disaster. Even so, Ferrari still sits second in the Constructors' Championship, despite trailing Mercedes by around 70 points. If Ferrari fails to win the title again this season, will the management still give the team time to continue the project toward 2027? Or will another major shake-up happen in Maranello? Share your thoughts in the comments below.